great to be here. So Clarivoy, we do multi-touch sales attribution. We oftentimes get the question about what exactly do you mean by attribution? And so an easy way to think about attribution is simply assigning credit. You're assigning a value from 0 to 1 to all of the different marketing touch points that are in a given advertiser's marketing campaign. And once you are able to accomplish that, then you can figure out exactly what parts of your marketing campaign are actually working and what parts you should actually probably cancel and reallocate that budget to a higher performing media. But there's what we call in the industry right now attribution confusion, and a lot of that really stems from the fact that the car buying process continues to get more and more complex. Google comes out with a study that talks about 24 different touch points in a consumer's journey. But I think in automotive, it's really hard because we've got all of the digital activity that's occurring online, and then someone shows up at the dealership, so it's not like an e-commerce type of transaction. So connecting all those dots becomes an enormous challenge, and one we're happy to help dealers solve. But the predominant thing that's going on in the industry right now is something called last click attribution. And so what last click attribution does, if you're not familiar with it, is it basically ignores all of the different touch points that actually occurred in the marketer's campaign. So only giving credit to the last click, 100% credit. And a lot of times what happens, particularly in Google Analytics and AdWords and a lot of other platforms, is that last touch sometimes is someone typing in your dealer name or actually visiting your website directly. So it totally ignores the impact that TV, social, email, search had in that particular journey. So our approach at Clarivoy is we do multi-touch attribution. So we're assigning credit to the different touch points along the way so that you can properly value those different touch points in your marketing mix. And so here's a graphical representation of how we're connecting the dots in terms of the different touch points. So you see one particular touch point where a person came in on TV, display ads, social, third-party website, and brand website. And so we're dividing up the credit in a machine learning type of approach to give proper credit to each of those different touch points so that you don't say, hey, it was the website that sold our car. No, actually TV and display ad actually played a role as well. But one of the difficult things that's happening in the industry is in this multi-touch journey of shopping is that a consumer will come in and see a TV ad, they'll go to the dealer's website, they'll get hit with a retargeting ad, then they'll go back to the website and then shop around some more, and then they'll just show up at the dealership. They don't self-identify, they don't fill out a form, they don't call, they don't chat. And so what ends up happening a lot of times is walk-in attribution. So you have no visibility into the performance of those different channels along the way. And so based upon our own internal research, we have found that actually 90% of people that visit a website actually remain anonymous. They never self-identify when they visit a website. And this obviously creates a lot of havoc when you're trying to measure the return on your investment if people are just showing up at your dealership. And so at Clarivoy, we have created a product called anonymous attribution to be able to address this phenomenon. And so what anonymous attribution does is it actually works backwards. So when someone visits a dealer's website, we don't know who that person is right off the bat. It's not until after the vehicle is purchased, we then retrace the steps that actually occurred so that we can link that person to the actual click path that actually occurred. And the interesting thing is, like with this particular person who purchased the vehicle, there were 4 different IP addresses involved, and so you can't rely solely upon IP addresses as a way to do attribution. You have to really be able to tie all of those devices together. And the fact that we now have 3.6 connected devices per person complicates things even more. So if someone is shopping on their phone and then later go to their website and actually continue shopping, the idea of being able to pair those devices is a really difficult task. But it's something that we have done at Clarivoy, and we've created something called an automotive device graph, where we are actually pairing all of the different devices that are in a household so that we can properly attribute those people in the purchase process. And so here's a snapshot of our dashboard where we are breaking up and assigning credit to the different touch points along the way. Now, one of the things that we're actually debuting today at Kain in beta is concerns AdWords. And 50% of an advertiser's budget is actually spent in AdWords. So as $4.4 to $7 billion is spent on an annual basis. That's over a $250 million every single month. And the problem with AdWords is, again, this notion of last click attribution. Google AdWords defaults to last click attribution, and Google Analytics defaults to last click attribution. And so what that means is if there were different keywords along the way that were part of that purchase funnel, they're going to totally negate the keywords that actually happened before an actual brand search occurred and give all the credit to that last keyword. And so this is the typical type of reporting that you will see when you log into AdWords, something we kind of call vanity metrics. So you log in, you see cost data, clicks, impressions, click-through rate, but this really doesn't help you determine what is actually working in your AdWords platform. The interesting thing about AdWords is there's actually the capability to import, it's been around since 2013, to be able to import sales into AdWords. But the difficulty that has occurred is this idea that people aren't self-identifying, and so if you can't link a particular click in AdWords to a sale, then you can't really upload that particular transaction into AdWords. And so what we've done at Clarivoy is we've, through our anonymous attribution process as well as device pairing, we are actually able to now push all of the attributed clicks right into AdWords, so that when you log into AdWords, if you're a client, you'll actually see total sales. You'll see cost per sale. You will see the conversion rate, so that you can really drill down and determine the ROI of the different keywords and the campaigns and ads within your AdWords campaign. And so I think it's worth repeating. We are now pushing sales data directly into AdWords through a native integration. And so how does it work? It's actually pretty simple. You're going to install the Clarivoy tracking code on your website. You're going to turn on auto tagging in AdWords. You're going to give us your DMS sales data. The Clarivoy software will run, and then we will send you a file that you can import into your AdWords that will show you the attributed sales. That's it.